Welcome to the Know, I'm Turney.
And I'm Jeremy Dooley.
Big news from the universe, everyone. Star Citizen, the first-person universe/space simulator/vessel for all your hopes and dreams, hit 2 huge milestones this weekend.
After years of not having much to show for their game besides a hangar filled with stuff you probably had to pay tons of real money for, Chris Roberts and Cloud Imperium Games finally released the Alpha 2.0 build of the game. Players everywhere finally have a chance to dive into the ridiculously ambitious game and see what all that crowdfunding has paid for.
Star Citizen is already the largest crowdfunding endeavor of all time, of any kind. Oh yeah. Yeah, it hit an even bigger milestone this weekend. Over $100 million. I stumbled because it's so much money.
That's a lot of money.
$100 million has now been put into the game by more than 100 million backers. They gave everybody gave $1 by 1 million backers. When you break all that out by backer, that comes out to an average of $91 given per backer, which, when you think about it, isn't much different from a game plus some DLC.
A little more than $1, but yeah. Unless you're Gus, who's put in somewhere in the neighborhood of about $5,000 towards the game's development.
That's ridiculous.
Gus, you could probably build your own spaceship for that.
Yeah.
So let's give that $100 million just a little bit more perspective. $100 million actually makes it one of the most expensive games ever made. Game budgets are a little tricky to pin down because they're usually reported and they include the marketing budgets. But we do know some figures about a few high-profile games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, which cost $200 million, and Destiny, which reportedly cost $140 million to develop.
That's ridiculous. Everybody just calm down.
Yeah, that's
Go back
too
to
much.
Pong.
Too much.
Let's go back to Pong. Also, it'll cost $100 million to do Pong. Also beating out Star Citizen is GTA 5 at $137 million, and tying it at $100 million are Max Payne 3, GTA 4, and 2 Human. It lands just ahead of the canceled Halo MMO by Ensemble Studios, which is believed to have cost about $90 million before ultimately getting jettisoned out into deep space. So sad. So yes, games can cost this much money and can still fail spectacularly. Not to make you guys nervous or anything, backers.
The American Cancer Society reports that its annual donations near around $300 million. That's awesome, but space sim lovers haven't quite outgiven cancer to play their long-awaited Wing Commander reboot. But hey, anything's possible, you know. And the campaign isn't over yet,
right? Which
is actually starting to cause quite a bit of criticism from both backers and non-backers alike. If you'll recall, the campaign to fund Star Citizen started back in 2012 for just a humble sum of $500,000. The game shattered that goal and went on to raise $2 million during its Kickstarter campaign, but then it didn't really stop.
Why wouldn't you? People are giving you money.
Yeah, just sit there and let it roll
Give
in.
me that funds. The full release of Star Citizen was originally supposed to drop back in 2014, but plans have been constantly changing as the scope and budget of the game increased by about a bazillionfold.
Yeah.
Since then, Cloud Imperium Games has missed multiple release dates despite multiple studios, totaling more than 300 employees currently working on developing the game's multiple modes. The highest profile of these missed release dates was that person's upset in the kitchen.
They're throwing stuff.
Fucking hate release dates that are missed. The highest profile of these missed release dates was the Star Marine first-person shooter module for the game, which was supposed to release this year, along with Squadron 42, the single-player campaign for the game, which has been promised to have more than 20 hours of gameplay and dozens of missions.
That's a lot. But hey, they hired Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Andy Serkis to be in it, so that's really cool. Oh, Gillian.
The lady from X-Files. I know you don't watch TV.
I don't watch anything. They cover this on Off Topic. Leave me alone. In addition to the numerous delays, Star Citizen has also come under fire for how it handles the sale of virtual goods that you'll receive later upon the game's release. The most notorious of these were the 200 Javelin destroyer ships they put on sale last year, costing $2,500 a piece. These $2,500 ships were stripped of all military armaments and will have to be outfitted by players. So it's not like you're buying some juiced up warship right out of the gate.
Oh, but you're just spending $2,500
on a box that flies.
That is absolutely ridiculous. It honestly gets even more ridiculous. There are also other virtual packages you could buy for special ships, including the $15,000 completionist package and the $10,000 Wing Commander package.
Oh, it's a bit more reasonable.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Gus should go ahead and upgrade to one of those because he's pretty much already almost there.
Yeah, he's real close. Many of these ships that people are paying real money for don't even exist yet in the game. They're going to be added once the full game ships, whenever that is. And the long wait is starting to wear on some of the earliest backers who claim that the game they're still waiting to play isn't even close to the same game they first put their money towards back in 2012. A recent survey at the Cloud Imperium Games forums revealed that as many as 25% of the game's backers were interested in learning about the process by which they can receive refunds. They want their money back.
They want those monies back. You got 100 million, give me mine back.
Yeah.
So now that Star Citizen has hit its ludicrous sum of 100 million, hasn't gone too far.
Not far enough.
Not far enough, I don't think so. There's other games that have cost more.
Yeah.
They're certainly trailblazing a crowdfunding project on a bigger scale than anyone ever imagined, but there are some paths that are just left unblazed. There's a Ray joke in there
Fire
for sure.
can't be in space.
Yes. At this point, should they just consider not even taking any more money? I mean, $100 million is more than enough to fund any game they could have ever made. And all they're doing is increasing pressure and creating expectations that they're never going to meet. It's kind of a lose-lose.
But that's almost like shutting down pre-orders, in a sense.
Yeah.
But you'd never see a publisher pull the plug on those.
For sure.
Some people funding this game legitimately just want to play it, and probably don't have any expectation that the game is going to get bigger and better every few months. Unfortunately, that's exactly the direction the game has headed. Part of what keeps huge projects like this on target is the ability to narrow scope when needed, but Star Citizen just keeps bloating.
This isn't unprecedented either, sadly. Double Fine completely exceeded their Kickstarter goals for Broken Age, and putting more money into the game created a scope of nightmares, which left it splitting the game into 2 games that didn't have enough money for either of them. It was kind of, again, a lose-lose.
Yeah.
The same thing could be happening here with Star Citizen, considering the size of its staff and current development costs. Chris Roberts, the game's creator, told Polygon just a couple of months ago, if I'm not bringing in $3 million or $2 million a month, we aren't going to have as many people working on it.
Wow. There are other reports coming out of the studio that a ton of development time is wasted on the pursuit of huge features that ultimately don't pan out, such as when Roberts insisted that the game's menu only be accessible through a helmet you had to put on in your ship, a helmet which could be left anywhere.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. It makes you wonder what magical conditions will have to be met for him to declare the game finished. At what point do you stop adding features just because you have more money?
Yeah. And also, when do you stop just taking the money? Never? Never. It's fine.
Menu.
Oh, the game is where the fuck did I put my menu? The game is going to have to release at some point, but with so much pressure riding on it, it's hard to say what the reaction is going to be. We've all seen our fair share of crowdfunding flops, delays, and downright scams, but this would be cataclysmic. Cloud Imperium is offering refunds to people who are insistent, which sounds like it's a huge pain in the ass.
We gotta push for it,
Yeah, but there's no way to refund $100 million if it all goes belly up.
This is just another step toward the future that crowdfunding is making possible. It was only a matter of time before we saw a game get funded with a AAA budget, but who would have thought that it would be a revival of a space simulator market of the 90s?
Yeah, Ryan's best dreams have come true.
Yeah, he's just at home like, no matter which way this game goes, people with money are going to take notice and see if they can capture the same success.
We'll have to wait until supposedly 2016 to find out how the game fares under the scrutinizing eyes of all its backers, but for now, we'll just have to see if we can even get this thing to run on our current PCs.
Yeah, that's,
You're gonna need new future tech.
Titan graphics card and everything. What do you guys think of Star Citizen's $100 million milestone? Is this something to be celebrated for bringing us a game that otherwise wouldn't have seen the light of Sol? Or is it all a giant money pit?
To get the latest in crowdfunding news and Gus's spending habits, like this video and subscribe to the know. Stabs can't do his fucking job.
Oh, called out.
Big news. Now the universe knows what. Get it. Work the butt.